A monster performance from A.J. Brown propelled the Eagles past Cleveland.
Looking for A.J. Brown, who has it for a touchdown.
Today, Saquon Barkley is back in the Big Apple.
I don't expect to get booed at all.
And ready to face off against his old team, the New York Giants. Today's game is sponsored in part by PNC Bank, Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, PDQ Restaurant Point of Sale Systems, your Delaware Valley Honda dealers, Verizon, and Piazza Auto Group. You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865.
Welcome on in to the Verizon Pregame Show. The Philadelphia Eagles powered by Verizon. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio with you as we get set for the Eagles and the Giants in the first NFC East game of the year for the Eagles. Philadelphia comes in 3-2. The Giants at 2-4. A road trip and maybe one, Hugh Douglas, that will galvanize the Eagles after, I got to say, a wacky week around here. They got to win. They beat the Cleveland Browns, but all the talk this week was about Nick Sirianni, the state of the team. And now we get a business trip, hopefully, up to New York to take on a Giant team that isn't good, but probably is more competitive.
It's the Giants,
yes,
nonetheless.
It's a division game. Hugh, how are we feeling this morning as we get set for a very big game for the Eagles?
I'm excited. There's a lot at play here. There's no question about that. We mentioned it earlier, the fact that there's a lot that happened during this week. There's been a lot of questions that have been asked about the head coach and his sanity, if we're being honest about this situation. And this football team is at a crossroads. I know that kind of sounds crazy to say so early in this season, but I think that we are. Because I think when people look at this Philadelphia Eagles football team, the biggest thing that comes to everybody's mind is untapped potential. We know we have the potential. We just haven't lived up to it. So now is the time, with so many questions swirling around the head coach and the quarterback for that matter, because it's starting to heat up for him as well, that we got to get it going. We got to get it going today.
Well, the question for me as we get to this one is, which Eagles team is going to show up today? Because
that's a good one.
They're a 3-point favorite. They should win this game. They're a better team, a better roster than the New York Giants. Yeah, Hugh, we on our show Friday, we were discussing if we trust them. And a lot of our listeners, a lot of our callers on Friday didn't trust the Eagles in this game.
A lot of trepidation.
Which is bizarre because this matchup has been all Eagles. They've won 17 of 21 against the Giants. They usually beat the Giants and beat them pretty soundly. The fact that a lot of fans out there are not sure if we trust this team or not tells you a lot about the team. And Hugh, it starts in the first quarter. They don't score in the first quarter. The only team in the NFL to have 0 first quarter points. It just doesn't make any sense, Hugh, with this talent. I know they've had some guys in and out, but every team has injuries in the NFL, right? Like I know today, and we'll talk a lot about it, they will not have Jordan Mailata. In fact, Jordan Mailata is on the IR. They won't have him for
a couple weeks.
4 weeks. It's a big loss. But that being said, you have to find a way, right? Teams lose offensive linemen, lose players all the week. Here's what we have today. We have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. They have Devontae Smith. They have A.J. Brown. They have Saquon Barkley in his return to MetLife. Hugh, there should be enough here with a week of preparation to score some points early in this game.
Yeah, you should be able to score some points in this game in your sleep. As good as this Giants defense is, you should be able to score points. We just need to execute better. I think that's the word of the day. We have the talent. There's no question about it. I think the execution has been a little bit off. I don't know what reason that is, but we haven't executed this game plan the way that we should. And if we do that, there should be no doubt in anybody's mind. We should blow the Giants out. We should blow the Giants out. But I think that the way that we've been playing the last couple of weeks, everybody's a little bit leery of that. We just want to get a football win today.
Well, listen, I'd love the blowout. At this point, you've got to take a win. I mean, we said this last week, right? Last week was a spot to blow the Browns out. It was off a bye. It was at home. Cleveland was on their third straight road game. And that game was 20-16. Hugh, when you think back to last week as we spin it forward to this week, what'd you take from that game? Because it was close, although, and Eliot, who will join us in about 10 minutes, live from MetLife Stadium, Eliot Shorr-Parks, he has pointed out a couple times this week with us, and I've heard him different times on the air here, that there were positives from that game that we just didn't talk much about because we were discussing only a 4-point victory and the fact that the head coach had a moment there with the fans in the press conference after the game. They didn't turn the ball over. That was the big, for me, that was the biggest positive. And their defense didn't allow a touchdown. Those were good things.
Yes. And this is something that I'm going to say that I'm pretty sure that on game day, a lot of Eagle fans aren't going to want to hear, but it's the truth. It's the truth, and this is something that was a mantra for all of us in the NFL. A win is a win. And the Cleveland Browns get paid too. They have some really good players over there. And for whatever reason, it hasn't come to fruition for them as well. But a win is a win, and they're hard to come by in the NFL. So you look at it from that perspective. But on the flip side, Joe, I mean, the kind of talent that we've amassed, man, that should never be an excuse that we have to hang our hat on.
Yep.
I mean, let's just be as transparent as we could possibly be. A.J. Brown, $30 million or whatever it is he's making. Bottom line is this. We got some high-paid, really, really good receivers on this team. We did something historically that has not been done in the NFL until we did it. We paid 2 receivers. We got 2 high-priced receivers on our squad.
And a high-priced quarterback.
Yes, and we got a high-priced running back. There's no way on God's green earth we should be talking about what you said was averaging 27 points a game or 21 points a game.
21.8. So it's 18th in the NFL.
I ain't never heard of that on a team. Well, I would challenge somebody. I know we got somebody that likes to do this analytics or look through the archives. I don't know what Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce are making the years that they were the greatest show on turf, and Kurt Warner for that matter, and Marshall Faulk for that matter. But if I was just in the archives, the history archives of the NFL, I think that this offense is comparable to that one as far as the talent is concerned. Now, I know we're talking about Hall of Fame players, but I'm talking about in the era that we're in the era that they played in, it's comparable.
Well, so at first I was like, whoa, that's the greatest show on turf. But if you look at just the individual talent of the 2 wide receivers and the running back, it is.
That's it. I'm not talking about the fact that a lot of those guys on their team got gold jackets. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about in the NFL, in the era that they played in, and the teams that looked around, they were surrounded by in the NFC, the same era that we're in. Look at the teams in the NFC that we're surrounded.
So, well, then it goes back to this. And Hugh, today, and we'll talk a lot about Saquon coming up when Eliot joins us. Hugh, you didn't say it, but I'll say it for you. You know what it comes back to? The quarterback, right? That quarterback is in the Hall of Fame as well. His name is Kurt Warner. He made it work with all that. I'm not saying this is all on Jalen, but Hugh, he's got to get this offense to a higher level. I'm looking right now. The Eagles rank 18th in the NFL in points per game. Mm-hmm. Here are some teams they're behind. You ready for this? They're behind the Arizona Cardinals. They're behind the Indianapolis Colts, who have played Joe Flacco for 2 games this year. They're behind the Seattle Seahawks with Geno Smith. They are behind the Chicago Bears with a rookie quarterback. They're behind the Minnesota Vikings with Sam Darnold. Hugh, the bottom line is, with the talent they have, Jalen has to get this offense to a higher level. He has to get the ball in the end zone.
Whether we like it or not, the worm is about to turn, because we are, especially with this week and the way that it has happened over the last 3 years, 3 different coordinators, and this offense looks the same. And it looks stagnant. You can't keep trying to do the same thing over and over again with the same parts and not look at the biggest piece. And the biggest piece is the quarterback right now. For whatever reason, and I don't know what that is, and I don't claim to know what that is, but there's a disconnect somewhere between the talent that we have and the ability to get them the football. And that's what it all comes down to. When you talk about the San Francisco 49ers as a measuring stick and what Brock Purdy's been able to do, there's still a verdict of whether or not Brock Purdy can play in this league. Or is he a game manager, or is he a good quarterback?
I think he's a good quarterback.
I think he's starting to skew that way, but initially he was a game manager. But as he progressed through this thing, when you look at the 2 quarterbacks, if you're being honest with yourself, Brock Purdy is growing right before our eyes. Jalen has shown some growth. I'm not here bashing Jalen. That's not what I'm doing. He's shown some growth, but not at the rate that Brock Purdy has shown growth.
Well, here's what I need today. You know, Hugh, when you play, like, there are games on the schedule, like next week, right? The Eagles will be in Cincinnati next week. Mm-hmm. That's a game where you kind of say it could be a shootout. You know Burrow's going to play. Well, you know what I need today? I need Jalen Hurts to be by far the best quarterback on the field, right? He's better than Daniel Jones. Mm. Excuse me?
Well, no, when you
by far.
No joke.
Hugh, if he's not the best quarterback by far, we've got some issues.
We was doing well with being grown-ups on this show until you said that.
By far.
By far is too much, Joe. You're asking for too much. I need them to win the game. Yes. Today. You're asking for too much. Joe, I'm gonna help you out here because you're my friend and we work together every day and I love you to death. your expectations today are too. I know it's game day. They're too lofty. Cut them down just a little bit, Joe. We want to win the game. Let's just win the game. How about that? You want him to go out and you want him to have 102 quarterback rating. Get that out your head, Joe.
Why? That's
Joe,
not possible.
Joe, get that out your head.
Well, it's in my head.
I know it is. Take it out. Take it out right now before this game starts. We want to win the game, Joe. We want to win the game, and we don't want any turnovers. I'll take 230 yards from my quarterback.
Well, I will too. Turnovers. Sure, I'll take that.
Okay, but the quarterbaint rating.
I just want him to be by far the best quarterback on the field. Jones isn't good.
Okay, we want him to be the winningest quarterback on the field. We want him to be the winner quarterback on the field. How about that?
Look at that, you lowering that bar. Just slowly lowering that bar down.
I feel like as Eagles fans, we go into the game and we fold our arms like this, as you can see, but nobody else can see.
We're live on YouTube. People can see it.
We've been on YouTube all this time?
Starting at 11.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm good then. You fold your arms and say, well, if he doesn't do this, then I'm not going to be satisfied. No, we want to win. That's it. We want to win. We want serviceable quarterback play. We don't want turnovers. That's it.
And that was last week. That's
it. Let's build from there. This is a work in progress, Joe. For whatever reason, as Eagles fans, we want the house to be built at the end of the day. It's not ready yet. We need to lay that foundation. We still haven't laid it. We still waiting for the concrete to dry.
Week 7.
I know we're a little late. We're a little late with that concrete
Week
pour.
7.
We're late with the concrete pour, Joe.
Week and a half or two. It's the middle of the season now.
I know it's about to get cold outside too. It's pouring concrete. We're waiting for the concrete to dry. We just want to win, and we don't want any turnovers.
That was last week.
Let's take that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things I want today, but a win is obviously number one. Let's get that. I just want Jalen Hurts to be the best quarterback on the field. We'll see if he can. Say last week was better. He moved in the right direction, no turnovers, but the 0-for-5 starter. It was obviously choppy for Jalen Hurts last week. All right, coming up, we'll welcome in Eliot Shorr-Parks live from MetLife Stadium, and we'll look at that player to watch, certain running back who signed here in the offseason. This is the Eagles Radio Network presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Who's the man in a white plumbing bag?
Roto-Rooter man.
Who's the dude who clears your drain of food?
Roto-Rooter man.
Who's the guy to keep your basement dry?
He's the Roto-Rooter man.
Who's your friend for a pipe on the man?
Roto-Rooter man.
If plumbing, drain, or water cleanup are the plan, better call your Roto-Rooter man. Roto-Rooter, we put water where it should be.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name, and away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
My name is Anton Moore, and I'm from Philadelphia. Around here, we have hardworking people that just need a break. Whether it's investing in small businesses or making housing affordable, Vice President Harris gets it.
Kamala Harris is making sure Black men have the tools to build generational wealth. She'll put a policy in place that gives 1 million forgivable loans to help entrepreneurs, including Black entrepreneurs, start their own businesses. She also plans to give $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-time homeowners and crack down on racial bias in home appraisals. Harris's plan will help Black men own more assets so we can build long-term wealth.
This is what an investment in my community looks like. We're trying to build generational wealth. No get-rich-quick schemes, no scams, no one-time check, none of that. Vice President Harris got our back. I'll be there on November 5th. Will you be there?
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
Big news, Cherry Hill. The Hester Chevrolet family is expanding with our new location, Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill, formerly Mall Chevrolet. For over 40 years, the Hester Automotive family has been part of the Cherry Hill community. With over 600 vehicles available, Hester Chevy of Cherry Hill now offers one of the largest inventories of Chevy vehicles in the tri-state area. See why 2 Hester Chevy locations are even better than 1. Come visit Hester Chevy at the mall or always online at HesterChevyCH.com.
No way or no way at Hester Chevrolet.
This football season, get yourself a win by losing. Call NJ Diet today and you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days, contractually guaranteed. You'll shock family during holiday get-togethers, and more importantly, your doctor should finally be able to give you good news about your blood work. Not only that, but losing weight is linked to help boosting low T. Best of all, there are no shots or nasty side effects. Call today, 855-5NJ-DIET, or go to njdiet.com.
Watching our birds with the family is tradition. So is saving money on your heating bills. Sign up for the CNC Heating and Air Conditioning Maintenance Plan to minimize the wear and tear of your system and lower your bills this winter. In need of an HVAC replacement, CNC makes budgeting your new system easy with their 0% financing options. CNC Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York certified comfort experts. Schedule your free estimate today at cc-hvac.com.
Call 811 if you have some groundwork to do. Utilities are under you, and it's all good until they spew. Oops, now all on your lawn. It smells like a porta-john. Should've just called 811. It's a real human stinky bomb.
Call 811 before you dig and help us hit 50 and 5. 50% less damage to buried utilities in 5 years. For more info, visit pa1call.org.
We are all quarterbacks of our financial future, and we have to be boldly committed to the process. It begins with a game plan, preparing yourself for success on and off the field. Not just thinking about short-term wins, but long-term goals. And the best part about winning is winning as one. Build your tomorrow with Lincoln Financial.
Lincoln Financial is the marketing name for Lincoln National Corporation and affiliates, copyright 2024. Lincoln Financial is a sponsor of Jalen Hurts, who has received compensation.
Check it out, the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and camera control for easy access. At Verizon, you can get it when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands.
Any?
Any.
Even if it's 4 years old?
Yeah.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk?
Yep.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk, then a scooter runs it over, so now it's not just old and cracked, but shattered?
With Verizon, the answer is always yes. New and existing customers can trade in any phone from one of our top brands in any condition for the new iPhone 16 Pro with unlimited Ultimate. Trade-in terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show. The Philadelphia Eagles powered by Verizon. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio, joined now by Eliot Shorr-Parks. With us the rest of the show live from MetLife Stadium. Eliot, set the scene for us up there at MetLife. First division game of the year for the Giants. What's it like up there this morning?
Well, let me tell you, I've covered a lot of Eagles-Giants games here at MetLife. It's the worst stadium in the league. There's never any vibe. There's never any Giants fans. It's always all Eagles fans. But today, let me tell you, driving into the parking lots, this is setting up to be the best atmosphere I think I've seen for one of these games. It's sunny outside. The parking lot's absolutely packed. Clearly a lot of Eagles fans. I think fans of Philly brought like 4 or 5 buses up of fans. But the more important thing is this is actually going to be a pretty good atmosphere, which you never really see here for a game in MetLife.
Well, that's exciting. And it's probably going to be extra because of the return of Saquon Barkley here. He's our player to watch, sponsored by the Bricklayers and Allied Craft Workers, Local 1 of Pennsylvania and Delaware. Now hiring bricklayers, stonemasons, and rubble masons. Visit BAC-1.org to apply today. All right, Eliot, what's your feeling on the Saquon return here? You know, he talked this week. He said he didn't expect to be booed. I think he likely will be, but it's like the line of demarcation between these franchises because one team decided to bring this guy in, sign a running back. The other team decided to move on. There's a lot at stake for everyone today.
Yeah, and talking to Saquon this week in the locker room as the Eagles prepared for this game, I'm not sure he really knows what to expect. I think initially he thought he wouldn't be booed. Then the reaction from Giants fans online was kind of like, no, you're going to get booed. So I do think it'll be a crazy atmosphere here today. You know, the last game I covered, at least recently, where a player played his former team was A.J. Brown. If you remember, all week leading up to that Titans game in 2022, A.J. didn't really care about it, not a big deal, just another football game. Then he went out. I think he had over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He got the GM fired, and then he was ready to admit that that was a big game. So there's no question about it. Saquon is really excited for today, no matter how much he might try to play it down leading into the week.
Now, here's the question. Do we expect Nick Sirianni and the Eagles coaches to try to feed him extra early and often? Ellie, a couple things. One, the Giants are better against the pass than the run. And two, over the years with this history of this matchup, and I just mean recently, like the Sirianni-Hurts era, the Eagles have run the ball down the Giants' throat. I think they've averaged about 185 yards per game in the 7 games. So that's even without Saquon. This has typically been a good matchup for the Eagles to run the football. Do we expect that today?
I do. If you even think about last week against the Cleveland Browns, and I know no one wants to talk about how well they played because Nick, had the audacity to bring his kids to the podium. But outside of that, if you look at how they ran the ball last week, they came out wanting to run the ball. Saquon got the ball very early in that game and often. Even Kenny Gainwell got a few carries. So I think one way they want to try to solve the turnover problem is take the ball out of Jalen's hand early in the games and get the running game going. So you said it, the Giants not good against the run. I believe they're 30th in the league in yards per carry allowed on the ground. Saquon's going to be motivated. And I also think it helps Fred Johnson in his first start on the left side if he's run blocking instead of constantly moving backwards.
All right, let's get to that, Hugh, what Eliot just said there, because he brought up something that I think is fair, but the question is how real is it that they improved last week, right? Eliot's right. We didn't discuss much of the improvement because we were on Sirianni watch all week and the whole thing. But Hugh, did you walk away from last week's game feeling similar to Eliot, that they improved, that they showed growth in a 4-point win over the Browns, even though there were some under the hood good things, no turnovers?
Are we talking about initially or after I had a chance to sleep on it and have an epiphany?
Where are you today as we a week removed?
Eliot's right. Eliot's right. When the game initially started, I was frustrated like every other Eagles fan because I saw some of the similar things that I saw. I was frustrated from the fact that going into the game, we kind of knew that it had the potential of being a low-scoring game because of what we've seen before. But as you digest the game and you get a chance to think about some of the things that happened, the one thing that stuck out to me the most was the fact that Jalen didn't turn the ball over. He was pretty efficient. And I went even as far as to say if he played that way he did play that way, minus the turnover in the Falcons game, we probably wouldn't be having the same conversation about Jalen Hurts that we're having right now. So I know it's tough, but I was trying to be fair and balanced. And to Eliot's point, it's the truth. The problem is this. Like I said earlier in the show, untapped potential. That's why we are so frustrated with this Eagles team, because when we look around and we talk about some of the, shout out to Eliot, by the way, for the plays that he charted in training camp, is that we saw this offense and we thought we were seeing an evolution of the offense. And that has not been the case. As a matter of fact, the question has been asked, and I think it was asked by Eliot, why is this offense so similar to the one that we've seen last year? So we're at the point now, and I'm long talking a little bit, but we're at the point now where we're starting to try to figure out why has nothing changed with this offense. So today's a big day. Today's a big day, but to answer your question in a long talking way that I just did, there was some growth in this offense.
And to Hugh's point really quickly, because last week when we did the pregame show, we all wanted to see style points. We all wanted to see that team go out, win by 14 points, put up 35-plus points. But that doesn't mean that they didn't take a step forward. It wasn't the step we wanted to see, but they looked like it was probably arguably the best game they played all year. I mean, I know the opponent plays into that. The Packers win was really impressive. The Saints win was impressive. But not only did Jalen not turn the ball over, he didn't even come close to turning the ball over. I think it was the first game all season he didn't have a turnover-worthy play. The defense didn't allow a single touchdown. And, Joe, I heard you reading some of the offensive stats of where they rank around the league, and it certainly isn't good enough. But it is worth mentioning that the two games they've had everybody, they're 2-0 and they're averaging 27 points. So, look, you have to score even when AJ is not there. It's no excuse. But if you want to talk about reaching the potential of the offense, 27 points and 2-0 is not, maybe how the mood of the city is.
That's fair. The reality is, though, they might not have everyone this year, right? Mailata is now out 4 weeks. I mean, they're going to have to make do here. Eliot, of the different issues they've had this year, turnovers, the fact that the offense looks very similar to last year, which maybe makes it more predictable and easy to defend, and then the first quarter issues, they can't score they haven't scored in the first quarter. Which is the one that's the most important they remedy here? Is it the turnovers, which last week was a remedy, and they won the game? Is it the way the offense looks, because it just looks exactly the same? I think that's made them predictable and easy to defend. Or is it the first quarter stuff? Sirianni seemed to downplay that as part of that press conference last Sunday. But that to me, and maybe he's just trying to spin a positive because they won the game, that's one thing they have to fix, because it's just hard to go through every first quarter without any points and expect to come out on top at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think there's a very clear ranking here of those three problems. Number one, by far, is the turnovers. If this team takes care of the ball the rest of the season, they will be a team competing for the Super Bowl. I mean, I heard you talking about Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts. If you look at their stats, Jalen is better at almost everything. The issue is he's turning it over at the same rate. that Daniel Jones is. So if they can take care of the ball, they will absolutely reach their potential as an offense. They will score lots of points. Those things will come. The first quarter points thing, I think, is number 2, and it is an issue because really since the beginning of last year, they've not been a team that jumps all over other teams. I think they've only had double-digit points in the first quarter twice, and in one of those, it was because of a Darius Slay returned interception. So strictly just from a confidence perspective for how the fans feel about them, like getting an early lead is something they need to get better at. You don't constantly want to be playing from behind. That third one there, I think this is a non-issue whatsoever. Talking about whether it's Kellen's offense, Nick's offense, how's it look, this guy, it is a Jalen Hurts offense. As long as Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of this offense, it is going to look pretty similar. The ball's not going to go over the middle a ton. He's not going to be under center a ton. Like, that just is what it is. So we can waste all this time talking about if Nick's too involved, if Kellen's too involved, until the turnovers and the first quarter points thing get remedied. That third thing is just something fun to talk about.
Hugh, what do you make of that, the way the offense looks? And I think Eliot's right on this. The common denominator is Jalen, right? That they run an offense that he's comfortable in, which they should, right? They shouldn't put him in uncomfortable spots. You just wonder, has the league caught up to that, and it makes it harder for them to do what they did, say, 2 years ago?
I think some of the better quarterbacks in the NFL are the ones that go back and look at the film and work on their weaknesses in offseason. And I think that a perfect example of that is Michael Vick when he got here and he was with Andy Reid. And he worked on some of the things that he didn't do well as a quarterback. We all know Michael Vick could run. But when Michael Vick became more of a passing quarterback and he was able to delve into the defenses and pick them apart, he was a much better quarterback. I think the same thing goes for Jalen Hurts. I've seen certain instances where Jalen has improved as a quarterback. The one way that you can add another wrinkle to your game is to throw the ball across the middle. Take chances with the football. You've already thrown 6 picks this year, 4 picks this year, or whatever it is. Why not take chances and add that different wrinkle to your game? Because that makes you that more formidable as a quarterback when you're able to do things like that. So I don't understand why you would not want to be, if the main thing is the main thing, in his words, why wouldn't you want to evolve as a quarterback and be better? You already got the money. Now it's time to go out and be great because that's all you talked about. And I'm not saying that he doesn't want to do that, but what I'm saying is this. If your mantra is to be the best that you could be, the only way you're going to do that is you can't be afraid to work on your weaknesses.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think they've tried, but and Eliot's right. The longer we go with the new coordinator, and it looks just aesthetically like the last year's offense the year before, this is probably the way it is.
And quickly, Joe, I would just say that there are plays there to be made. It's not like there are not throws that are open. It's not like they're not moving the ball. The issue has been the turnovers. Against the Saints, they had, almost 500 yards of offense or something like that. They moved the ball up and down the field. The issue is the turnovers. Last week against Cleveland, there were plays to be made there. Devontae had a huge play for a touchdown. AJ obviously had those 2 big plays, one of which was a touchdown. So it's not like the offense is sputtering and like they're unable to move the ball. They are able to move the ball. The issue has been that these drives are ending either in A, turnovers, or B, going for it on 4th down and not executing.
Yeah, to your point on that, where they rank in yards per play is higher than they are points per game. So they're moving the ball at a better rate than they're scoring the football. We'll see if that changes today. On the other side, we'll look at the matchup here against the Giants. First division game. How important is this one? A must-win, potentially, for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Fall into savings with Guida Door and Windows buy one, get one half off sale. For every window or door you buy, get the second at 50% off. And you can mix and match these savings. Buy an entry door, get half off a storm door. Buy a patio door, get 50% off a window. The more you need, the more you save. Plus, take advantage of interest-free financing for up to 18 months. Call Guida to schedule a free estimate at 877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
Hey, show the camera. Do you need a pumpkin spice oil change? No, I didn't think so. What you need is the best prices on name brand tires. Right now, United Tire is doubling every manufacturer's rebate. So if tires have a manufacturer $100 rebate, you are saving $200. So why would you take your car anywhere else? Double the savings all month long. Find the location nearest you by going to UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Hey, Philly, you know I've been telling you about my friends at the Bush Auto Group for a while now. Well, this month it's time to score big. Exton Nissan and Nissan 422 of Limerick have some incredible lease offers this month that you won't want to miss. And for you luxury lovers out there, the newly redesigned 2025 Infiniti QX80 has just hit the lot at Infiniti of Westchester. Talk about a game changer. Visit them in-store or online today at bushautogroup.com. Philly rides with us.
Hi, this is Joe Mederchik, PNC Bank Regional President. People ask us, is PNC just a boring bank? Well, that depends. Is starting a business boring or being the first person in your family to go to college? For nearly 160 years, we've done the hard and occasionally boring work of banking to deliver brilliant results to our clients. To see what boring banking can do for you, stop into any of our local branches right here in the greater Philadelphia community. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. It's engagement season. Let me tell you about a very special event coming up October 24th, 25th, and 26th. It's the Family and Company Jewelers Viraggio Bridal Show. For 3 days only, they're bringing in all new inventory and brand new designs. This is your chance to save hundreds, maybe even thousands on the ring of her dreams. Head to Family and Company Jewelers on Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey, October 24th, 25th, and 26th for the Viraggio Bridal Show. Only from Family and Company Jewelers, South Jersey's diamond destination.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You'll be able to, or you can even just, with impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains, Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Homeowners, improve your family's comfort with a Bradford white water heater and enjoy all the hot water your household needs all day, every day. With Bradford White, you get more than just a water heater. You get our commitment to quality and reliability that you can trust. How you heat your water matters, so don't compromise when it comes to your home or your hot water. Bradford White water heaters are built to be the best because your home deserves it. Visit BradfordWhite.com to learn more and find an installation pro near you.
This week at Acme, don't miss the football items of the week. Dietz Motts and beef franks for $4.99 each. Stop in and discover why football is better at Acme, your tailgating headquarters.
Pennsylvanians are creating their own soundtrack. Thanks to PA Lottery Scratch-Offs, excitement's back. Pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, no matter your choice, scratching's always in order. With big top prizes and second chance drawings, thrills await. They're out there calling. If it's excitement you seek and you're looking for action, play the PA Lottery. And keep on scratching. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
This football season, get in the game at Acme. Buy participating products and receive touchdown tokens to redeem for entries into the Swoop In and Win sweepstakes. You could win 2025 Eagles season tickets or autographed Eagles merch and more. Acme, the official supermarket of the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is the Verizon Pregame Show on Eagles Radio.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show. The Philadelphia Eagles powered by Verizon. Eliot, Shorr-Parks live at MetLife Stadium with Hugh Douglas and Joe Giglio. We get set for a big one up at MetLife Stadium. And it's not just a big one because it's the next game on the schedule. It's a division game. It's what's on the menu here, sponsored by Hatfield. Put pork on your fork. Visit simplyhatfield.com for game day recipe inspiration. Let's look at a state of the race here in the NFC.
The state of the race.
All right, Eliot, first division game of the year. And the more I look at the standings and watch this thing play out every week, Eliot, it's not just a big game just because it is, and it's a division game. I'm also starting to wonder, Eliot, if we're looking at an NFC this year where it might just be one NFC East team makes the playoffs. So Washington has already beat the New York Giants. The Giants now up on the Eagles schedule. Eliot, for years it's been Cowboys, Eagles, and a lot of those years both make the playoffs, regardless of who wins the division. Eliot, I look at that NFC North with 4 teams over 500. I don't know if we're getting 2 teams from the NFC East this year.
Yeah, it's a great point. And really quickly, I will just say here at the stadium, we do have the inactives for the game. Darius Slay is active. He will play today. Jalen Carter also active. So some good news for the Eagles because you're absolutely right. This is a big game today. Obviously, we've talked about it so much in terms of just how we want them to look, how we want to feel after the game, how many points they should score. We almost overlooked the fact that this does have playoff implications. The Giants, as you mentioned, I don't think are going to be a playoff team, but the Giants win today, I think they'll have the same record as the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. So, or maybe one game under. But regardless, this is a big game for the Eagles for that playoff race, because you're right. The NFC North is better than past years. NFC West, you can certainly never count out at least both the Niners and the Rams there. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for the Eagles to make the playoffs, and it have been in past years.
Well, and Hugh, you look at the standings right now. So Washington is 4-2, right?
Yes.
The Eagles are 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Washington gets to play Carolina at home today. I would imagine they're going to
money.
Yeah, I would think they're going to win to get to 5-2, right? So the Eagles could either be 4-2 today, half game behind the Commanders, and away we go. They'll play here in about a month. Or if it goes the wrong way today, we're suddenly 3-3. They're 5-2. And they've beaten the Giants, and we've lost the Giants. Hugh, it feels like this is the first one on the schedule. Like this might have implications as we go through this thing.
Yeah, it's almost. I know you don't want to say it, but it's almost a must-win game. You're playing division rival, and you're trying to position yourself for what potentially might happen down the road. I mean, this is the first one, and you're always told as a player you want to get these first. You want to win the games in your division because that helps put you in a position and props you up, so that you do have a chance to win the division at the end. Haven't seen anybody. This is the first team that you've seen. It'll be a good thing to get off and get this game. It really, really would.
Well, no question. And the idea that at the end, it could come down to a tiebreaker. If both these teams have 10 wins, 11, that tiebreaker is going to matter a lot. Eliot, you mentioned the inactives there and the injury report. Let's talk about the Fred Johnson angle at left tackle today.
Yeah.
Now, Eliot, it's interesting. I think he's played pretty well in the 2 times he's had to come into a game to help out. But the one time he started a game down in Tampa, he did not play well over at right tackle in for Lane Johnson. I'm not sure if that was a bad day or was he exposed because he had to play a full game. But what do you make of the Eagles going with Fred Johnson? Because they could have gone with Mekhi Becton at left tackle and put Tyler Steen at right guard. What do you make of what they're doing here?
Well, it was definitely a bad day for Fred Johnson, to say the least. He gave up more pressures than any other offensive tackle in the league that week. In fact, any other offensive lineman the week he started against the Buccaneers. So, yeah, he was pretty bad that game. Now, talking to him this week, I definitely think he is more comfortable on the left side. I think left tackle is his more natural position. Obviously, when he started that game, it was on the right side. Now, the issue is he's going up against, I think, a better pass rusher today than he did in Tampa. Tampa blitzes a lot to get their pressure. They don't have any, in my opinion, elite edge rushers. The Giants have 2 of them. Dexter Lawrence will move to the outside. I think you will see him take snaps against Fred Johnson today. And then, of course, Brian Burns, who's been outstanding so far this season for the Giants. So there's a lot of questions, like how long will they stick with him? If they do bench him, who would replace him? I think Tyler Steen is an option. Maybe you didn't mention there. He played some tackle in college. I saw him getting some reps, not at left tackle, but on the left side of the line this week, at least in individual drills. So maybe that's a move they would make. Darian Kennard, who's been active before. I don't believe he's inactive today. So obviously that won't be an option. But yeah, I think when you talk about Mekhi Becton and moving, they don't like to move multiple spots. Mekhi Becton has been pretty good at guard this year. He's not played tackle well in the NFL. So to move him over, you're then weakening yourself potentially at 2 spots. They're going to really, really hope Fred Johnson can get this job done.
They are. The left tackle, especially with Burns. You mentioned Lawrence there. All right, Eliot, one name I didn't hear on the inactives, and he was brought back from the PUP list this week, is Sidney Brown. That means he's active for this game. Eliot, what do you think his role is going to be? And I believe, is this where he got hurt last year, late in the season?
This is where he suffered that torn ACL. Obviously, A.J. Brown also suffered an injury on this field. So knock on wood. And speaking of Mekhi Becton, he said this week, this is the worst stadium in the league and, it's unsafe to play on. So I don't think Eagles players are super pumped about coming to play on this game. So I think with Sidney Brown, you'll probably see him mostly on special teams. He is arguably the hardest hitter on the team. He might be the fastest player they have in the secondary. So just special teams wise, he could be a playmaker, especially on punt return punt defense. And then we'll see on defense itself how often he gets out there. He could be used in potential blitz packages, especially from that nickel spot if they want to put him there and bring him off the edge. I don't think you'll see him play a ton of snaps, but potentially in some sub packages, he could be out there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how he looks, even on special teams, because I don't think it'll be long till he's on the defensive side and getting a lot of snaps out there, especially if CJ Gardner-Johnson continues to have an up and down season.
They're not going to bench CJ.
Are you sure? No, I don't mean like next week.
They're not going to bench CJ Gardner. No, he was one of their top free agent signings. He's one of the leaders on that defense.
You think they're going to put the money on the bench?
Yeah, I think they'll find ways to get Sidney out on the field, but I would be pretty surprised if, barring injury where he misses some time, even then, I don't think they're benching CJ.
Well, there's other ways, though. Like you said, maybe there's a way they get 3 safeties on the field. We've seen that in years past, Eliot, with different coordinators where they have. Yeah. And look, I do think Reed has played better than CJ so far this season. So would they take Reed off the field, or do you think they just would get creative to get them all on the field?
Get creative.
I don't think they'll take either off the field.
Okay.
I also wouldn't completely rule out Sidney getting some snaps at nickel. Now, obviously, Cooper's taken that role, but I think both of them have similar games in some ways. So I think that there could potentially be some ways to get Sidney out on the field in a nickel role later in the year.
By the way, Cooper showed up today in a Brian Dawkins t-shirt. So keep that in mind.
He better have a good game.
He better. All right. On the other side, Dave Spadaro will join us. We'll react to the inactives. How much will we see Sidney Brown today? This is the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Hey, Eagles fans, this is Merill Reese. Phones weren't made to be broken, but life happens. So when you break your phone, Verizon in Philly's got you. Trade in any phone from one of their top brands in any condition, guaranteed, and get a great deal on one of their best 5G phones with unlimited ultimate. Switch now and save. Available at a Philly area Verizon store.
The Piazza Auto Group is proud to have served as the halftime sponsor of the Eagles Radio Network for over 20 years. As we hope for another championship, it's the perfect time to drive home in the new or certified pre-owned vehicle you've been wanting. The Piazza Auto Group features 18 brands, including Honda, Acura, Mazda, Hyundai, Genesis, Mini, Nissan, Subaru, and Volkswagen. To find the location nearest you or to shop their extensive inventory, visit PiazzaAutoGroup.com.
Hi, it's Merrill. Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa is here to help you distress after the game. Visit them to restore, relax, or refresh with a much-needed massage or facial for an introductory price starting at just $79.95. They offer an abundance of facial and massage services. Visit any one of their 60 spas in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, or go to handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
If you're looking to furnish your home or replace your old furniture, your journey begins and ends at Bucks County Estate Traders. One piece of advice, make sure you have time when you come here. The 58,000 square foot showroom is a furniture wonderland. Quality high-end pieces with inventory changing daily. It's all here. Mid-century modern, traditional, vintage, antique, and name brands. They'll ship anywhere, or you can pick up in-store. Bucks County Estate Traders in Hatfield, or at buckscountyestatetraders.com.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Hey, it's Rhea Hughes. Fall is upon us, and now is the perfect time to head over to Lexus of Cherry Hill for the L Certified Fall Collection sales event. It's much nicer than pumpkin spice. They have over 300 new and L Certified pre-owned Lexus to choose from. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. For every car sold during October, a donation will be made to Virtua's breast cancer patient and early detection programs. Stop in and see my friend Tony Labello and his team, or visit online at LexusofCherryHill.com. Lexus of Cherry Hill, family owned and operated.
Day and night, PGW puts our energy into keeping you safe at home. PGW's 24/7 safety monitoring, infrastructure upgrades, and industry expertise help to deliver the essential energy you rely on and trust. And every mile of infrastructure we upgrade keeps energy delivery in Philadelphia more clean and more affordable. When you see us in your neighborhood, we're working harder than ever to stay on schedule and continue the work of keeping you safe at home. Remember, natural gas smells on purpose. Smell us? Tell us. PGW.
There are lessons to be learned every day, and every day is an opportunity to find our purpose. It begins with a game plan, not just thinking about short-term wins, but long-term goals. We are all quarterbacks of our financial future, and we have to be boldly committed to the process. Because when the lights are on, that's when preparation meets opportunity. Build your tomorrow at LincolnFinancial.com.
Lincoln Financial is the marketing name for Lincoln National Corporation and affiliates. Copyright 2024. Lincoln Financial is a sponsor of Jalen Hurts, who has received compensation.
True Philly fans know that thirsty birds fly faster with Bird Gang Spirits. Bird Gang's starting lineup of bourbon, vodka, and tequilas are made for true Philly fans. The pre-gamers, the tailgaters, dieharders, and lifelongers. This year's limited edition release of Bird Gang commemorates the 75th anniversary of the Eagles' 1949 World Championship. Pick up a bottle at your liquor store today or order directly at BOTLD.com. Bird Gang Spirits. Go Birds! 2024 Bird Gang Spirit. Direct delivery available only to PA residents. Please drink responsibly. You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show. The Philadelphia Eagles powered by Verizon. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio, Eliot, Shorr-Parks joining us now. Dave Spadaro, as we see the inactives here. Dave, and one name that is interesting is Sidney Brown, activated off the PUP and back, ironically, at the stadium. He got hurt last year. Dave, what are we expecting with the role for Sidney as this week and then moving forward?
You know, I think that it's going to take him a while to work back into it. He's made a really remarkable recovery 9 months after surgery, but it hasn't really manifested in terms of any sort of game speed, and it's really hard to replicate that in practice. So I think it'll be a very gradual, barring any injuries, move back into some kind of a role. And I think ultimately they would like him to be a versatile member of the secondary at safety, in the nickel, a dime player, somebody who can inject a lot of energy and be physical and tackle and has a bit of the ability to cover sideline to sideline. But I think to look at him as a factor this year, I'm not sure how you, barring injury, if everybody stays healthy, I'm not sure how you get him up to speed. The one thing I will say is that this defense needs to take the football away, and the secondary, has to have that mentality with they're going to get to the football. Sidney Brown's that kind of player, and so you really want that kind of energy on your football team and on your field on game days. But right now, it is just so difficult to see how you gradually build him up for some sort of sustained role.
So is that to say we probably won't get a chance to see him today?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine special teams, this is a way that you put him and get him some reps.
Mm-hmm.
And in the defense, I know he took some reps the last couple of weeks of practice. Minimal reps, handfuls of reps. Would they put him in today if they have to? But I think they feel they've got enough to cover. They match up pretty well against the Giants in the secondary.
They got time. They got time to work him in slowly.
Yeah, and then Darius Slay is active today, so that gives them, obviously a starter at the cornerback position. And they also will have the second week now of Cooper DeJean. He's our power player of the game, sponsored by IBEW Local Union 98 in partnership with Nika Penn Dell Jersey. They're proud to power progress in Philadelphia. Dave, we discussed last week about what kind of role Cooper would have, and we thought he would start. He didn't just start, Dave. He played 92% of the snaps, and I thought in a game that had a lot of wacky things happen, he was a very steadying force in that defense. Coverage, I thought he was good against the run, and even the pass rush, sending him off the blitz. I was very impressed last week, Dave, by Cooper's first start.
Very impressed. Excellent athlete. Moment not too big for him. Timed up the blitz really well, which is the key to a good edge blitz, a secondary coming off the corner. I just think he's put together. He's super athletic. He also returned punts. Let's not forget that. Averaged 12.8 yards per punt return, I think, on 4 or 5 returns. So this is a kid who's off to a good start. And the Eagles, as they transition this secondary, I think we all believe that Quinyon Mitchell is, to date, the real deal.
Bonafide.
And I think your first impressions of Cooper DeJean are the same. And I look forward to seeing him used more in this defense. The more that he can handle it, and what it shows you, not only as an athlete, what he can do, but from a mental standpoint, that Vic has so much confidence in giving him an assortment of roles and having a tough assignment inside. I remember on the pregame show last week, I talked about him lining up against Amari Cooper. And I knew that a couple of times at least, Cooper was in the slot working against DeJean, and DeJean did a good job. So excellent performance from him. Now, again, the more you play, the more teams watch you, the more they try to poke holes into your weaknesses. So whatever the Giants saw from Cooper DeJean last week, they will try to find those weaknesses and create favorable matchups for the Giants offense today. So a little bit of a chess match back and forth. We'll see how Cooper does.
Dave, let's talk about a move the Eagles made on Friday. So we're not surprised today with the inactives or actives. We know that Fred Johnson's in at left tackle because Jordan Mailata is out. Dave, what's your sense on what kind of timetable it could be for Mailata? Because I think some people were surprised when they saw him put on the IR. That's 4 games, including the first Dallas game 4 weeks from now. How serious do you believe the Mailata injury is? And do you think it could be as soon as that 4 weeks is up, he's back?
Yeah, I think it could be as soon as the 4 weeks is up. I don't think it's anything that's going to go, barring setbacks, that's going to go long down the road. But this is a 6'8", 365-pound man. That is a very large hamstring, and there is a lot of pressure and weight, and he's an explosive athlete. So it was disappointing after Jordan said he would be out for 2 weeks, that all of a sudden he's out 4 games, and that's a really long stretch without your left tackle. So the depth here is going to be tested. Not only Fred Johnson, but Jack Driscoll is up, and Becton is versatile enough to play over there at tackle. The Eagles, I think when we came into the season, we all wondered, hey, where's the depth on this offensive line? And we've seen Fred Johnson play well. We've seen Tyler Steen play well. The Eagles are going to get tested here. And as this schedule, we're in a kind of an interesting and on paper, very favorable series of games, with this game, with Cincinnati, with Jacksonville. It's going to get a whole lot harder after that.
No question about it. It's a big test today. Hopefully the Eagles offensive line holds up against a good Giants front. Dave, we appreciate it. Coming up on the other side, Femi Abebefe will join us from the BetQL Network. His angles on today's Eagles games and what looks around the NFL. This is the Eagles Radio Network presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You'll be able to, or you can even just, with impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains, Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Someone once said it's always better to do one thing at once. I say if you can do 2 things at once, why wouldn't you? You're probably doing that right now anyway. Like at WM Henderson Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric. If you buy 1 fall furnace tune-up, we'll give you an AC tune-up in spring for free. You do one and you don't even have to think about the other. See, that's 2 things taken care of. So the moral is, doing 2 things at once isn't just easier, it saves you money. Book now at WMHenderson.com.
Look at you. Your life is under control. Errands done. Groceries, got them. Be proud of yourself. It's time to give yourself a reward. You know you've been waiting all day for your favorite tasty cake treat, but which one? There's so many great choices. Is it the delicious Crimpet or the mouth-watering candy cake? Maybe it's the tasty baked pie. No matter what you choose or where you are, it's always time for a tasty cake. So choose what feels right and enjoy. You've earned it, and you know you deserve it. Tasty cake, accept no substitutes.
Looking to get your relationship into the end zone this season? Then you need to run over to see Paul Cozy at Cozy Jewelers in Newtown Square. Paul is the guy for custom engagement rings, custom pieces, and wedding bands in the Delaware Valley. If you're looking to get engaged, Cozy Jewelers has the play call for you. Win big this season by stepping up to the 5th C. That's color, cut, clarity, carat, and cozy. Family owned and operated. Go to Cozy Jewelers in Newtown Square or at cozyjewelers.com. That's cozyjewelers.com.
It's a long season, but one thing is sure. Birds football is sure to make your heart skip a beat. But that flutter you feel in your chest could also be something else, like AFib, atrial fibrillation, a serious heart condition that needs expert care from an all-pro team like Deborah Heart and Lung Center. One thing is certain, all season long, Team Green is sure to make your heart flutter, maybe even skip a beat now and then. Just remember, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. DemandDeborah.org. Go Birds.
Hi, this is Howard Eskin to talk about Jack Daniels, tailgating, and the birds. It doesn't get any better, so stop by your local PA Fine Wine and Good Spirit store and get game day ready with the original Jack Daniels Tennessee whiskey, along with Jack Daniels Fire, Honey, and Apple, or grab a case of Jack and Coke or Jack and Coke Zero Sugar. Now ready to drink in a can. Also available at select grocers. Jack Daniels, born for the tailgate, and please drink responsibly.
Whiskey Specialty, 7% ABV. Jack Daniels Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniels is 100% registered trademarks of Jack Daniels Properties Inc. Coca-Cola is a registered trademark of the Coca-Cola Company.
There's a chill in the air. You flip on the heat, and nothing. And why does it always happen right after you've finally gotten cozy? For as little as $13 a month, Oliver will keep your home's heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical systems in check year-round. And guess what? Membership also comes with yearly inspections, exclusive discounts on repairs and replacements, plus priority emergency service.
Call Oliver for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs.
Hi, it's Merrill. Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa is here to help you distress after the game. Visit them to restore, relax, or refresh with a much-needed massage or facial for an introductory price starting at just $79.95. They offer an abundance of facial and massage services. Visit any one of their 60 spas in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, or go to handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
This is the Verizon Pregame Show on Eagles Radio.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show, the Philadelphia Eagles, powered by Verizon. Joining us now from the BetQL Network, You Better Your Bet, Femi Abebefe, for his looks on Week 7, including the Giants and the Eagles. Femi, how you doing today?
Femi.
Doing great. You know, sun is shining out here. The board is lighting up here. It's a whole lot of fun. And we're splitting the game out right now in London. So it's a good time right now.
Yeah, it is fun when these games start early. You get the all-day sweat from 9 a.m. Eastern all the way till around 11:30 p.m. All right, Femi, let's start with the game we're focused on here. The Eagles, a 3-point favorite over the Giants up at MetLife Stadium. What's your thought on today's NFC East matchup?
Yeah, it's a really interesting betting market, one that we've been talking about on our show, You Better You Bet, all week long, is that it feels like there's a lot of interest on the New York Giants at 3.5, and even at 3, as we're seeing this morning, some of those 3s are getting bet. I like the other side. I know that this is a week that Nick Sirianni has gotten a lot of flack, and rightfully so, with his antics on the sidelines after yesterday or last week's game. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles are the play here. I laid the 3 with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they actually are able to flex their muscles against a Giants offense that is just not good whatsoever. Now, the Giants do get Malik Neighbors back. That'll be a big boost for them. But the big loss of Andrew Thomas, I don't know how they're going to block this Eagles front. And then on the opposite side, I do think Philly's offense has just enough to be able to win this game by margin. So I like the Philadelphia Eagles. When everyone's selling Philadelphia, that's when I want to buy. I can't help but think we're getting the Eagles at a cheaper price here. So I think that's the value bet in this game.
All right, you like a favorite here with the Eagles over the Giants. How about some underdogs, Femi? It's been a good year for underdogs in the NFL. Last week was a favorites week. Are we back to some underdogs this week? Who do you like?
I would say my favorite bet of the week is the Miami Dolphins getting the 3. This is the fate of Anthony Richardson, the Colts quarterback. I think at some point in his career, maybe he will be really good. Maybe he'll live up to the expectations and the potential that he does have because he's really talented from a physical standpoint. But right now, the best quarterback on the Colts is Joe Flacco. And if they're not going to play him, and that's Richardson having to win by margin against a Dolphins team that's coming off of the bye, a little bit healthier, another week for Tyler Huntley to be in that system with Mike McDaniel, I think we see a good performance from the Miami Dolphins. I think the Dolphins just win the game later on today. So I took the 3, but I also like the Dolphins to win outright against the Colts.
Femi, other bets around the league today. Where do you lean into the big game today? 425 out in San Francisco, a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. It's interesting because usually Andy Reid off the bye is money, but Shanahan also has extra time. They played on Thursday, so a little bit extra time, but both coaches, both offensive minds on extra time, but good defense is in the game. Where do you lean in the Niners and the Chiefs this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the defenses. I think it's going to be an interesting game. If I had to bet the side, I'd bet Kansas City, but I don't really like that one as much. I like the under in the game. It's 47.5 or 48, depending on where you do your betting. But I think this will be a lower scoring game, kind of like a rock fight. I see it being like 23-20, maybe 24-20 in that sort of range here. The Chiefs defense is their calling card. And then for the 49ers, their defense as well, I think getting a little bit healthier. I think we'll find against a Kansas City offense that's devoid of a lot of playmakers. I think that this will be back and forth, but it'll be a lower scoring kind of field possession type of game. So interesting game. Can't wait to watch it. But I think we're not going to get as many points as the market thinks.
Speaking of rock fights, let's end with this. Sunday Night Football tonight, Jets and Steelers. Devontae Adams enters the fray now for the Jets, and the Steelers making a switch at quarterback to Russell Wilson. What's your thought on this game, a big one in the AFC?
Another under, baby, under 39. That Jets offensive line, I do not trust it. Alice Highsmith now back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they get Highsmith and Watt rushing the passer. And then also Russell Wilson jumping into this thing right now. Hasn't played much of this season. Hasn't played at all in the regular season. Didn't play that much during training camp. I think that Steelers offense will be rusty as well. I think this will be a low-scoring affair. I don't know who wins it, but not going to be a whole lot of points, but it'll be interesting to watch.
Great stuff. Femi, we appreciate it. We'll be listening. You Better You Bet on the BetQL Network. Have a great day, and good luck with all the bets out there in Vegas.
Awesome stuff. Good luck with the bets, everyone.
There he goes. Femi, a better fray. How about that, Hugh? We talked all week about some trepidation on this game. Femi, a bettor, does a betting show, says Eagles, and he's laying the 3 points. He thinks they're going to win this game by, at least a field goal, if not more.
Yeah, I took that bet.
Yeah, you're in?
Yeah, I took that bet.
How many parlays you got cooked up today?
You know what? I really ain't been doing the parlays. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But he said something about Kansas City in the money line. So
he liked the under. He did like Kansas City, but his favorite bet on that game was the under in the game.
Okay, so I'm gonna take Kansas City on the money line.
Okay, you going Kansas City?
Yeah,
stay undefeated.
I need to figure out how I'm gonna set this parlay thing.
Oh, we'll do that in the break. All right, Coming up, we'll get to Eliot's 3 keys to victory for the Philadelphia Eagles as they take on the Giants up at MetLife Stadium. This is the Eagles Radio Network presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Today, it's the Saquon Barkley revenge game.
This rivalry is so much bigger than what happened in the offseason between me and the Giants.
As he returns to MetLife Stadium for the first time in an Eagles uniform.
So hopefully it gives me a little extra juice and I can go out there and perform.
To face his old team and new foe, the New York Giants. Today's game is sponsored in part by PNC Bank, PDQ Restaurant Point of Sale Systems, Verizon, NovaCare Rehabilitation, your Delaware Valley Honda dealers, Deborah Heart and Lung Center, Acme, Piazza Auto Group, and IBEW Local Union 98. You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show. The Philadelphia Eagles powered by Verizon, and everyone here hoping they will be powered on the offensive side of the ball today. Led by Saquon Barkley, the Eagles, Hugh, enter MetLife Stadium for their first division game of the season. It is a big one off a win last week. But how about a win today that makes us feel really good, Hugh? They haven't won a game by double digits in a long time. Could today be the day? We will find out. Our Merill Reese will join us in a little bit. Later on, we'll talk to Connor Hughes up in New York, SNY. And we're joined, of course, by Eliot Shorr-Parks, who's live at MetLife Stadium. Why don't we get to some of these keys to the game with Eliot Shorr-Parks?
3 keys with ESP.
All right, Eliot, what do you got for us today?
Number one for me is you have to help Fred Johnson. Look, traditionally when the Eagles are missing an offensive lineman, whether it's Lane, whether it's Mailata, which hasn't happened often, but they don't give that player help. You don't see them put a tight end on that side. You don't see them having a running back lined up to that side next to Jalen. They really trust their guys to go out and play, and I respect that. But it's not a fair strategy today against Brian Burns and potentially Dexter Lawrence if they move him on the outside. Fred Johnson, look, hopefully he plays well. He can earn himself a lot of money over these next few weeks. But this is on Jeff Stoutland, Nick Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts to make sure that if Fred is struggling, they have a plan in place to go out there and make sure we're not living through another Winston Justice situation, which we all remember against the Giants from a few years ago.
Yeah, that was rough. It was 6 sacks, I think, that was that night against Winston Justice.
I remember that.
Hugh, so what do you think they do here with Fred? I mean, Fred has come into a couple games due to injury. I think he's played decent when he's had to run in an emergency. But Hugh, we remember the game, and Eliot gave the stats last hour in Tampa Bay. He was rough. I mean, he got beat up there when they had a full week to prepare. I would think the Giants are going to attack him. How do they help Fred Johnson? Is it a back? Is it an extra tight end in there?
Smoke and mirrors. I think that a lot of times in a situation like this, just like for a quarterback, the best friend of a offensive lineman is a running game. I think you have to run the ball. And I think in obvious passing downs, you do something that's not obvious. Maybe you do a quick screen. Maybe you do some stuff to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand. Maybe some draw plays and things of that nature. You have to keep this defense off balance. And a lot of times, that what I've seen this year, they haven't done a really good job of keeping defenses off balance. Whatever they do, that's what they do. We have a lot of weapons on this team. But in order to have success, I think that you have to do a little bit of smoke and mirrors sometimes. You have to have it.
Yeah, I also think
to Hugh's point, too,
ahead,
just quickly to Hugh's point about running the ball, I think it would be a really good thing for Fred Johnson if he got to start this game and go out and be the aggressor.
Yeah.
Go out and push into Brian Burns.
Get
go
him
out and
comfortable.
push into right, exactly. As opposed to for the first 5 snaps, he's moving backwards. So I do think coming out and running the ball would be a smart strategy.
I also think, Eliot, to your point on Fred can make himself some money the next few weeks. You know, he gets to potentially play 4 games at left tackle for a team that could score a lot of points. He also could not be playing next week. You mentioned earlier they have other options, you know, whether it be Mekhi Becton or Tyler Steen. I think Fred is playing, you know, and now that we know it's going to be 4 full weeks without Mailata, today's a huge game for him, and obviously the Eagles helping him out here. All right, how about key number 2, Eliot?
So number 2 is keep Daniel Jones in the pocket. I mean, Daniel Jones, we all remember that long run he had against Eagles where he fell at the end of it.
Yeah, that
but
was
he
ridiculous.
is a good running quarterback. In fact, he averages more yards per carry this year than Jalen Hurts. Now, I don't think he's a better running quarterback than Jalen Hurts, but he can be really dangerous in the running game. And the Giants like to use him that way. They'll do designed runs. They'll do quarterback draws up the middle. And in the pocket, Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. He will make mistakes. He will give you opportunities for turnovers. But if you let him escape the pocket, make plays on the run, pick up first downs that he can't with his arm, then the Giants could move the ball. So number 2 for me is make sure Daniel Jones is staying in the pocket.
I like that one. And Hugh, when he takes off, because Jones is not, like, I agree with Eliot, he's not a better runner than Jalen, but he is a better runner than I think that people realize. I mean, he has, I think, 8 yards per carry in his career running against the Philadelphia Eagles. Hugh, when he escapes, they got to tackle him. I mean, like, they can't let 6-yard carries become 15-yarders. And that, to me, that's on Nakobe. That's on Bond. Don't get cooked by Daniel Jones over the middle of the field.
Yeah, and if the Giants want to use that strategy and run their quarterback, every time he run the ball, every time he got over the line of scrimmage, make him pay. If he doesn't get down and slide, make him pay. I think that's not bright to put your quarterback in harm's way that way. But if that's the way that you're going to try to win this football game, every time he does that, I would make Daniel Jones pay.
Well, and he's had injuries a lot in his career as well. So that, you know, he could get banged up if he's running outside. All right, Eliot, how about key number 3?
So this is simple to say, tough to execute. You have to make somebody other than Malik Neighbors beat you. It's like when you're playing a basketball game and that team has one good player. Make someone else make shots. Malik Neighbors is the only player on that Giants offense that should be able to beat the Eagles today. If he doesn't have a good game and they lose, that would be incredibly disappointing. But go make some of those other receivers, Wan'Dale Robinson, make Devin Singletary, make Theo Johnson, who's been more involved at the tight end out of Penn State. If they're going to beat you today, you know what? Hands up to them. But Malik Neighbors is the one that's capable of taking over the game. This is on Vic Fangio to have a plan in place, whether that is shading a safety over to Malik Neighbors' side of the field. Like, you can't just put these corners on an island against him because there's nobody else on that team that they should be worried about. Vic Fangio's job, shut down Malik Neighbors today.
Yeah, it's a good one, Eliot. And he is the key to their whole offense. I mean, the last couple of weeks, last week in particular, when he didn't play, the second game off of the concussion he had a few weeks ago, they didn't move the ball at all. That was a primetime game. I was watching against Cincinnati. It was like, you know, they had no shot to move the football. He's their whole offense. Eliot, I'm curious, how do you think they're going to defend him? Because they do have Darius Slay healthy today, or at least healthy enough to play. They also have Quinyon Mitchell. And I think that's a matchup people want to see. Do you think the Eagles would rather Slay over, you know, Neighbors or Mitchell if they had their choice on most snaps?
Well, I'll be curious to see who they let decide the matchup, because the Eagles could have somebody follow Malik Neighbors. I don't think they're going to do that. So it'll be up to the Giants where they want to line up Malik Neighbors, whether that's across from Quinion, whether it's across from Darius Slay, or even if it's in the slot against Cooper DeJean. And that's why I say that this is on Vic Fangio, because if the Giants are going to dictate that Malik Neighbors is in the slot quite a bit and he's going up against Cooper, you can't just let the rookie in his second career start at nickel go up against Malik Neighbors all game. Of course, you want to see that matchup for Cooper DeJean's development. You might not want to see it for the final score of this game. So I definitely think pre-snap, this is going to be on Jalen Hurts pre-snap, this is going to be on the defense of making sure they are aware of where Malik Neighbors is and making sure they have a plan in place, whether that is an extra safety or whatever they got to do to keep him from being the primary target.
Hugh, how would you defend him? Just to add to Eliot's point on he's their offense. So he's played 4 games, right? He missed the last 2 with concussions, after a concussion. In 4 games, he has 52 targets. He's a rookie. He's been targeted 13 times per game.
Yeah.
He's their offense.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. Well, I would not be afraid of him. I would not give him the cushion that we've normally given other receivers in this situation. I would press him a little bit. I would make Daniel Jones play quarterback. And if he wants to throw him the football, I'm going to make it as difficult as possible to throw him the ball. I would probably drop a linebacker to his side. I'm definitely going to have somebody over the top. And I'm going to give my defense a chance to get after him. The one thing that we haven't done because of the coverage, the way it's been predicated, we haven't had opportunities as a defense in the front to get after quarterbacks a whole lot. We saw a little bit of that last week. I think we should do that, some more of that. Daniel Jones does not scare me throwing the football. If he wants to throw the football, if he wants to put the ball in harm's way, so be it. I'm going to play press coverage on this young man, and I'm going to put my defense in position where, especially now when you have your offensive lineman hurt, I'm coming after him every play. If you want to do that, if you want to run your quarterback, so be it. But he's not going to be the guy that's going to beat me.
The keys to the game brought to you by United Tire. For the best tire prices anywhere, don't drive alone. Drive United. Eliot, a lot of this conversation we're having, it feels familiar because we see the Giants twice a year. And Eliot, since you and I have known each other and obviously been here together at WIP and all these years, the last decade or so, just, knowing each other, covering the Eagles. Eliot, this is it's usually been the surest bet in football. It's certainly the NFC's. The Eagles beat the Giants 17-4 last decade, 5-2 under Sirianni Hurts. And that game last year in Week 18 was even a weird one, the one the Giants won last year, because it felt like once the game got away, the Eagles kind of called the dogs off, and Mariota came in that game late. It just feels like this is always the get-right spot for the Eagles against the Giants.
Yeah, and it can be today. I mean, if you look at this game today, but also just their schedule in general. Last week against the Browns, they got the win. They played a better game. I don't really think they use it as kind of the launching point they could have. Today, against the Giants, a bad Giants team. Don't let the fact that they've been somewhat competitive early on fool you. They are not a good team. They have maybe 3 or 4 good players among their 22 starters. This is a chance for the Eagles to do, to your point, what they have done, is use the Giants as a launching pad. You have the Bengals next week, who are better than their record. You come back home against the Jaguars. This is a chance. It's the opposite of the gauntlet last year. The gauntlet last year not only hurt them from a record perspective, it demoralized them because they got smacked around for 2 or 3 straight weeks by the Niners, the Cowboys, and it was just a rough stretch. This is their chance to go out and be the aggressor, be the bully. Go out there, start playing good football, and finally get some momentum going for the rest of the season.
No question. And today's the kind of game where we determine, are we going to have 3 teams in the NFC East race, or is it going to be an Eagles-Commanders race? Because they could bury the Giants today and move ahead of the Cowboys as well. Coming up on the other side, we will talk to Merrill Reese, his keys to victory. The Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Hi, this is Joe Mederchik, PNC Bank Regional President. Sticking to the fundamentals and not wavering from the game plan is a great philosophy for football and banking. And for nearly 160 years, our dedicated local PNC teams are in formation to help fans receive sound and reliable personalized financial advice to get them across the goal line. Because, as we see it, a win for them is a win for the greater Philadelphia community. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hey, Eagles fans, this is Eagles All-Pro wide receiver Mike Quick. Phones weren't made to be broken, but life happens. So when you break your phone, Verizon and Philly's got you. Trade in any phone for one of their top brands in any condition. guaranteed, and get a great deal on one of their best 5G phones with unlimited ultimate. Switch now and save. Available at any Philly area Verizon store.
Know what's below, because even minor excavation projects like installing a mailbox, building a patio, or putting up a fence can do major damage. Contact 811 before you dig, or visit pa1call.org to submit a locate request to have underground utilities marked.
Dear Spotlight, Toyota has more all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive vehicles than any other brand. Find your perfect ride, and you'll shine bright day or night. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, this is Mike Quick. If you're in the restaurant, hospitality, or casino business and your point of sale system isn't helping you sell more, earn more, or work less, you need to talk to my friends at PDQ Signature Systems. PDQ has everything you need for success. PDQ POS is the fastest, easiest, and most reliable POS system available. Whether you have a single location restaurant or thousands of locations, Joe Flynn and his team will create a custom game plan that will help your business succeed. Visit pdqpos.com.
This football season, get in the game at Acme. Buy participating products and receive touchdown tokens to redeem for entries into the Swoop In and Win sweepstakes. You could win 2025 Eagles season tickets or autographed Eagles merch and more. Acme, the official supermarket of the Philadelphia Eagles. This week at Acme, don't miss the football items of the week. Dietz and Watson beef franks for $4.99 each. Stop in and discover why football is better at Acme, your tailgating headquarters.
Just like our offensive line protects our star quarterback, plumbers protect the health of the nation. And Philadelphia Plumbers Union Local 690 is no different. In hospitals, commercial, industrial, and residential, with the best trained plumbers in the world, you can be sure your project is done on time and on budget, no matter how big or small. So when your business needs to build new or expand existing facilities, you can count on the members of Plumbers Union Local 690. Visit plumbers690.org.
We are all quarterbacks of our financial future, and we have to be boldly committed to the process. It begins with a game plan, preparing yourself for success on and off the field. Because when the lights are on, that's when preparation meets opportunity. And the best part about winning is winning as one. Build your tomorrow with Lincoln Financial.
Lincoln Financial is the marketing name for Lincoln National Corporation and affiliates, copyright 2024. Lincoln Financial is a sponsor of Jalen Hurts, who has received compensation.
Pennsylvanians are creating their own soundtrack. Thanks to PA Lottery Scratch-Offs, excitement's back. Pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, no matter your choice, scratching's always in order. With big top prizes and second chance drawings, thrills await. They're out there calling. If it's excitement you seek and you're looking for action, play the PA Lottery. And keep on scratching. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
This is Brandon Graham. Eagles football plays here. 94 WIP.
You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show. The Philadelphia Eagles powered by Verizon. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio, and now joining us to discuss a big one in the NFC East, the Eagles and Giants. 105 kickoff is Merill Reese from the booth. Merill, how are you today?
I am well, Joe. This is just a magnificent day.
Testing. Referee's microphone test. 10.
Little check on the mic as they're getting ready up there. Merrill, give us your keys to the game as the Eagles have a big one today. First NFC East game of the season.
All right, number one, force quarterback Daniel Jones to throw from the pocket. He can hurt you when he runs. Last week, the Birds registered 5 sacks. More of the same would be big.
Well, it would. And, last week, it's hard to parse, Merrill, how much was the Eagles defense, how much was Deshaun Watson, but they did play well. They didn't allow a touchdown last week against the Browns. The only touchdown, of course, came on that special teams play. Let's build off of that. How about key number 2, Merrill?
Pay special attention to Giants rookie receiver, number 1, Malik Neighbors. He's back from concussion protocol. Their number 1 draft choice from LSU is a threat on every play.
52 targets in 4 starts, Merrill. It's pretty incredible how often they use him. I can't remember many rookies getting that much play early in their career. He is a good player. Good one. All right, how about key number 3 to get a victory up there in New York?
All right, get the ball in the hands of Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith early and often, and watch the Eagles fly.
Love it, Merrill. Are we expecting a big day out of Saquon and his return to MetLife?
Absolutely. Although he's not going in putting pressure on himself. He runs hard every time he touches the football. So he's not trying to build this thing out of proportion.
Well, that's good because he's got to keep his emotions in check, but we expect some big things out of Saquon today. Merrill, we appreciate you hopping on and have a great broadcast. We'll be listening today.
Appreciate you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
There he goes. Merrill Reese, as he gives us his keys there with the neighbors angle, Daniel Jones. And Hugh, last week they did sack. It was pretty amazing because we haven't seen them sack the quarterback this year. They did get Deshaun Watson 5 times last week.
Yeah, and it's a start.
I think we find out today. Today's a good litmus test, right? Because next week they have to go play Joe Burrow. He's a top 5 quarterback in the league. He's a star. Today's a good litmus test. Can they do it again against a quarterback in Daniel Jones who's not very good, right? He's better. I think he's better than Watson, but he's not a good quarterback. If they get him today 4 or 5 times, it'll tell me, all right, this thing's coming along now, finally.
My coach used to always tell me sacks come in bunches. So last week was the start of something. And hopefully today we can keep that going, man. That's what it's all about. They got a taste of success last week, albeit it was against the Cleveland Browns, but it doesn't matter. If you keep that going, that can bode well for you, for your confidence, the way that this defense is playing. And you know, it just makes you feel better knowing that you can get after somebody and help your offense out a little bit.
Well, and the negative plays, see, that we discussed that on last week's pregame show. The Eagles aren't generating, or weren't before last week, negative plays by their defense, right? Tackles for loss, sacks, fumbles forced, interceptions. Hugh, that's how games are won and lost. I mean, I think back to when you were playing and your defense did it. You created negative plays all the time. You got a sack, someone forced a fumble, Doc had an interception. This defense before last week, it's like that never happened. If they can get some negative plays, I don't think the Giants are good enough to recover from negative plays. If the Eagles could, take them out of their rhythm, put them in 3rd and long, this isn't the kind of team that's probably going to go up and down the field. Like that's to me the very simple key to their defense today. Get negative plays on the Giants.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. You want to make this Giants offense as uncomfortable as you possibly can. We know that they're inept right now. And the way that I think of that could help you exacerbate that, if you will, since I'm going to use big words today.
Wow, we're getting smart
look at
here.
me. I'm using these big old words today. Is to score early and score often. You want to score early and score often and put that offense in a position where they feel pressure to push the ball down the field and then take that option away from them.
Well, it's one thing we haven't seen in a long time with the Eagles, a 10-point lead. A 14-point lead. I mean, it's the kind of thing that could change the whole tenor of the game. If they get out to a lead, Hugh, it makes their pass rush better. It gives Bryce Huff, your guy, a chance. And by the way, Bryce Huff last week in his 4-point stance got a little more pressure on the quarterback. And he did talk this week about how he's more comfortable. I'm curious, the first 3rd and long today, right? The Giants' first possession, 3rd and 9. Is Bryce Huff in the stance he likes?
I'm willing to bet that. And I'm so confident in my stance when it comes to Bryce Huff. I pull up
a little on a Bryce Huff sack.
I got my Bryce Huff sack
today.
What
kind of odds on that? Plus 2 to 1, plus 170,
something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, you know, I don't know the odds, Joe. I just all I know is put $2 on it. $2 whole dollars.
High roller Douglas over here.
$2.
Well, hopefully last week was the start of something. 5 sacks is 5 sacks. Now, if that was that all Deshaun Watson, it's because he's a sack magnet.
He held the ball quite a bit.
He does.
I mean, but I like the quarterbacks. I used to like quarterbacks that like to hold the ball.
Sure, you did.
Yeah. Hold the ball. Hold it a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's how you get yourself a sack. But it goes hand in hand. The Eagles' offense needs to get a lead so their pass rush could pin their ears back. Here's one thing I don't want today. I don't want this thing to be very tight the whole way because it's just like you said it earlier. You can win like that, but you could also lose like that. We've had so many toss-up Eagles games over the last year that, yeah, they win some, right? They will beat the Saints on a last-minute drive. But you're also going to have games like the Falcon game where it goes the other way. Get a lead. Then you can run Saquon, run them out of the building, do what has been obvious for the Eagles against the Giants for a long time, which is run the football and run it well. A 10-point lead in the first quarter would make everyone listening to us right now, everyone, just exhale a little bit. We need one of those.
Yeah, we do. And hopefully it starts today. We've emotionally been on an emotional roller coaster as Eagles fans this last week and these last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. We need some stability. We need a little something stable. And today, it would be nice to win by at least a touchdown. I'm not asking for a whole lot. Touchdown would be nice.
That, you know what? That's not a lot. Considering the gap in what was perceived talent between these two teams, it's not a lot. We just haven't seen many of those games. I mean, the Eagles haven't won a game by more than a score in basically a calendar year. I think it was week 7 last year against Miami. It was this week last year that the Eagles won a game, by 10 points. It'd be nice today if we go in the fourth quarter feeling really strong and not like, oh, we're going to pull this one out. We'll see if the Eagles have that in them. All right, coming up on the other side, we will check in with Connor Hughes. He covers the Giants and the Jets for SNY up in New York. His feeling on the game, how good is this Giants team, and how many targets are they going to give Malik Neighbors? We'll check in with Connor Hughes next, right here on the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. On 94 WIP.
Kick off game day the right way this season with Hers, the snack that's rooted in Philly. They've been a hometown favorite for nearly 8 decades and counting. So when you say their first team all flavor, you can taste it. Hers runs a deep roster of unbelievable flavors like zesty, sour cream and onion, sweet and smoky honey barbecue, and slightly spicy jalapeno kettle chips. So next Birds game, you can't help but go for 2. Bags, that is. Hers, rooted in flavor.
Eagles fans, Merrill Reese here to talk about my friends at NovaCare Rehabilitation. Are you dealing with ongoing aches and pains? The physical therapist at NovaCare will help keep you active and doing the things you love. They have more than 200 convenient locations throughout the Delaware Valley and South Jersey. Visit NovaCare.com to schedule an appointment today. NovaCare is the official physical therapy provider to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles trust NovaCare, so can you. Experience the power of physical therapy.
It's a long season, but one thing is sure, Birds football is sure to make your heart skip a beat. But that flutter you feel in your chest could also be something else, like AFib, atrial fibrillation, a serious heart condition that needs expert care from an all-pro team like Deborah Heart and Lung Center. One thing is certain, all season long, Team Green is sure to make your heart flutter, maybe even skip a beat now and then. Just remember, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. DemandDeborah.org. Go Birds.
Hi, it's Merrill. Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa is here to help you distress after the game. Visit them to restore, relax, or refresh with a much-needed massage or facial for an introductory price starting at just $79.95. They offer an abundance of facial and massage services. Visit any one of their 60 spas in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley. Or go to handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
Roto-Rooter. Plumbing problem? No match for a little DIY duct tape. Shoot, hold on. Nope. There we go. No match for a little... dang it, wait. Duct tape and a wrench. Leaks are no match for duct tape than a wrench. And a bucket and a towel, more duct tape, a hammer, this random tool I found in the basement, another bucket, more tape, a little more tape. Perfect.
On second thought, maybe leave plumbing to the pros at Roto-Rooter.
And away go troubles down the drain.
Psst, hey you, stop nibbling on your schnitzel and get to Jacktoberfest at Del Chevrolet. 31 days of unprecedented savings. Over 300 vehicles to choose from, all with big Del discounts and incentives. Only at Del Chevrolet. Stick the cash right back into your lederhosen with low APR financing and no money down available every day at Del Chevrolet. Located on Route 30 in Paoli. Online at DelChevrolet.com. If you're worried you're going to pay too much for your next car, you don't know Jack. Say habla español.
Jack, sell them for less.
This week at Acme, don't miss the football items of the week. Dietz Motts and beef franks for $4.99 each. Stop in and discover why football is better at Acme, your tailgating headquarters.
Check it out, the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and camera control for easy access. At Verizon, you can get it when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands.
Any?
Any.
Even if it's 4 years old?
Yeah.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk?
Yep.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk, then a scooter runs it over, so now it's not just old and cracked, but shattered?
With Verizon, the answer is always yes. New and existing customers can trade in any phone from one of our top brands in any condition for the new iPhone 16 Pro with Unlimited Ultimate. Trade-in terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
This football season, get in the game at Acme. Buy participating products and receive touchdown tokens to redeem for entries into the Swoop In and Win sweepstakes. You could win 2025 Eagles season tickets or autographed Eagles merch and more. Acme, the official supermarket of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Seth Joyner joins us tomorrow at 9 a.m. on 94 WIP.
VIP.
This is the Verizon pregame show on Eagles Radio.
Welcome back to the Verizon pregame show. The Philadelphia Eagles powered by Verizon. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio with you as we get set for the Eagles and the Giants. 1:05 kickoff up at MetLife Stadium. 3-2 Eagles, 2-4 Giants. Joining us right now to talk about this game and this Giants team, Connor Hughes of SNY up in here. Connor, how you doing today, buddy?
Connor.
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Pretty good.
We're good and trying to figure out what kind of game we get today between these two teams. So the Eagles are a 3-point favorite. Connor, tell us about this Giants team, because over the last decade or so, it's been the easiest bet in the NFL. The Eagles just beat the crap out of the Giants. Are the Giants better? Are they still as bad as they've been? What's your eyes telling you with this Giants team so far?
They're feisty, Joe. I think that's the way. That's the best way to describe them. I mean, you look at the roster, and there's not a ton of talent there. Opposite Malik Neighbors. They've got some solid players. Devin Singletary, running back, he's a solid player. Tyron Tracy looks like a building piece. The offensive line is significantly better, even without Andrew Thomas, than it's been in quite a while. They're not an elite level offensive line, but they're a competent offensive line, which is something the Giants haven't had in a bit. But I think where they gain their advantage is similar to where they were playing a couple years ago, where they made that playoff run. And I don't think this Giants team is headed for the playoffs at all, but that season, they kind of embraced this. We know we're not that good from a talent perspective, so we're just going to try to play a really ugly brand of football and out-ugly you. And we know how to survive in the deep end. Can you survive in a deep end? And, they've been feisty as a result. They've been aggressive as a result. They've pulled out some games, specifically that Seattle one that I didn't think they were going to as a result. But from a talent perspective, this team is still probably bottom third, maybe even bottom 3 to 5 in terms of talent in the entire league, with the exception of their defensive line, which is pretty good.
Connor, so far, Saquon Barkley has been as advertised for the Eagles. He's been one of the better running backs in the NFL. Really, without him, they probably don't win that first game in Brazil against the Green Bay Packers. You mentioned the young running back for the Giants doing well so far. If you gave the Giants truth serum right now, do you think they still feel good about their decision? Because the way I read it was they didn't really want him back, and he just happened to end up here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Joe Shane is going to be, I think as long as he's this team's general manager, he's never going to be someone that believes in paying a lot of money to a running back or somebody that believes in using a priority draft pick on a running back. And I think one of the reasons why, it's bitter for Giant fans to know that Barkley went to Philly, but the Eagles were one of those teams that began this offseason with the offensive line solidified, defense solidified, receivers, quarterback. And still, didn't you guys have like $40 million in salary cap space to begin the offseason?
Yep.
Like you had the ability to go pay a non-premium position premium money. Like that was a luxury that Howie Roseman and his math skills afforded you guys, where the Giants didn't necessarily have that. I mean, the Giants could have gone out there and matched the Eagles deal. They could have gone out there and paid Barkley that money. But if they did that, guys, the resources that they would have had to give to Barkley, they would not have been able to then invest into their offensive line. And their thought process is, we are not in a position as a team right now where we can afford to give that much of our salary cap position to a running back, because Barkley with the Giants is not accomplishing what Barkley with the Eagles is accomplishing, largely because of the offensive line and the receivers and all that stuff over there. The Giants got rid of Barkley. They were able to bring in John Runyon, bring in Jermaine Illuminor, and they really have stabilized this offensive line to a point where really for the last 4 to 5 years, it was maybe the worst group in the entire NFL. It was an incompetent group that really it prevented them from even running an NFL offense. Like it was embarrassing at times last year. Unfortunately, they though had to let go of Barkley to recoup that capital to then be able to kind of boost up other areas of their team. So even with the truth serum, like you guys were saying, I still think that they are okay with letting Barkley go.
Connor Hughes, SNY, joining us here as we look at this Giants team. We'll play the Eagles coming up at 1:05. Connor, how good is Malik Neighbors, and do we expect a full go for him 2 weeks after the concussion? He didn't play for the last 2 games. Expecting the full workload? Because I looked earlier, he has 52 targets in the 4 games he played, a pretty remarkable number in his usage in these 4 games.
Yeah, it's funny, guys. I actually did a TV hit for SNY. I think it was Friday night, and they asked me the same thing about Neighbors, and I said, guys, like my career has been covering the Jets and then recently covering the Giants, and during that time, I have not seen very good quarterback play whatsoever. Like I am an expert in bad quarterbacks, but while I haven't seen good quarterbacks, I have seen some pretty good receivers. I got a chance to see Odell Beckham Jr. his rookie year, Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker with the Jets, Garrett Wilson more recently. Like, I know what a good receiver looks like. In OTA's minicamp and training camp, I have never covered a receiver that was as dominant as Malik Neighbors. I mean, he really can do it all. He's elusive. He's agile. He has the speed. He has that uncanny ability Odell Beckham early in his career liked to take the 10 or 15-yard slant and go to the house with it. But what he is so exceptionally good at, which I believe is what separates him from even the likes of Garrett Wilson, is that he is an elite level 50-50 ball guy. Like when that one's in the air, he's not just a yak. He's not just after the catch. You throw it up there, like you saw a couple times with the touchdown grab in Washington, and then even a third down catch up the left sideline. He has this ability to go up there and make some ridiculous grabs. And I know people have been on him a little bit for the drops. You just read the stat, targeted over 50 times. So he's getting targeted more than any other receiver in the league. Like when you throw to a guy that much, yeah, there's going to be a drop or two in there. He's not going to catch 200 balls this year.
I don't know why anybody would trade him in fantasy football.
Yeah, Connor, Hugh dropped Neighbors in fantasy football a couple weeks ago. You believe this?
That was a bad call. That was a lot.
It was a real bad, and it doesn't make it any better. You sitting here running off because we don't get to see too many Giants games, but you running off his stats like that and the way he's been playing made me even sicker.
Yeah, he's good, guys. Like, he is, and I think what's most impressive about him is that every single team that plays the Giants knows that he is. I mean, look, Darius Slayton's an NFL player. Wan'Dale Robinson's a nice slot receiver, but the Giants' lone weapon, like their one guy, is Malik Neighbors. Everybody knows that, and Dable is still designing ways to get him the ball. He's very creative in the ways that he uses him. You'll see him on jet sweeps, in the slot, out wide, end arounds, all that fun stuff. And teams still aren't necessarily able to contain him. So he is absolutely as good as advertised, and it's getting to the point, even with him being a rookie, that week in and week out he's going to get his. It's just a matter of other guys around him can step up as well.
Connor, last one for you. So the Giants will have now played their third division game today. They played in Washington. They played the Cowboys on that Thursday night, and now they'll face the Eagles. We haven't had a division game yet. Our first one here, Eagles-Giants today. So you've seen the whole division. Now the Eagles will see today. How would you handicap this thing? Do you believe the Commanders are as good as they've looked so far, and is Dallas as blah as they look so far?
Yeah, Dallas, I've never been a Mike McCarthy fan. Like, ever since he went to Dallas, there's just something off with him. I mean, that team has always had so much talent. Now they don't necessarily have the same talent as they've had, which means they need to rely on coaching, and you're just seeing he just doesn't have it. So, I mean, they'll probably still find a way to win 7 or 8 games, but I don't think that's a team that's going to win 10, 11, 12. Jaden Daniels is legit. Like, that dude he's good. Like, good. Like, I mean, I didn't know what he was going to be like coming out of college. Like, was he just going to be more of the running quarterback until he figured out how to handle NFL defenses and things like that? No, like, this guy's going through his reads, coached tremendously well by Cliff Kingsbury. I think that Washington defense is very poor and certainly has their issues, especially in the secondary. But that offense can score with the best of them. They're that good, and a big reason for it is Jaden Daniels. And then I haven't seen you guys yet, the Eagles, but I know from watching from afar, because my wife's family's all from Philly, so the Eagle game is usually on in my house. From watching that from afar, it just seems like something's a little off with you guys at the moment, and I don't necessarily know what it is. But even still handicapping the 3 divisional teams, I would still probably put the Giants at 4. Like I said, they're feisty, and if teams take them lightly, they can sneak up and get them. But if a team goes head-to-head with the Giants and they bring their A game and the Giants bring their A game, very rarely is the Giants' A game going to be enough.
Great stuff. Connor, man, appreciate you hopping on. Enjoy the game today. And if you notice anything crazy going on the sidelines, it's probably our head coach. So just keep an eye out for that one. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah, that seems wild, man. You guys got something over there.
Yeah, we do. Connor Hughes up in New York
that
for
was nice.
SNY.
The way that he tried to say it was really nice.
We have something going on here.
It's different. It's a little different over these parts.
A little bit. Hopefully a win today. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll get to our predictions for the game. Will the Eagles win and get to 4-2? This is the Eagles Radio Network presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Hey, Eagles fans, this is Merill Reese. Phones weren't made to be broken, but life happens. So when you break your phone, Verizon in Philly's got you. Trade in any phone from one of their top brands in any condition, guaranteed, and get a great deal on one of their best 5G phones with unlimited ultimate. Switch now and save. Available at a Philly area Verizon store.
Hey, it's number 59, Seth Joyner. Join me and my Birds teammate Mike Quick, plus Joe Conklin on the BetParks team. BetParks is the official winning partner of the Philadelphia 76ers and the only app that I use. Whether your team scores or not, there's always another way to win on the BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. All your favorite casino games, all right on your phone. New users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours.
See BetParks.com for details. Casino bonus must be wagered. Must be 21 in PA, New Jersey, or Michigan. Gambler. Gambler.
The Nissan Rogue with available Google built-in helps you make the most of your drive. Take care of the small stuff, like,
hey Google, cool down my car.
And,
hey Google, turn on the dog feeder.
Or change up your adventure.
Hey Google, navigate me to the nearest music venue.
Handle your drive like a pro.
Experience the ultimate connection in the new 2024 Nissan Rogue. Now get a low $289 per month lease for 36 months on Rogue. Visit your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today. Not equipped on all vehicles. Requires compatible device. Sequences shortened and simulated. Activation of Nissan Connect services package required. Only use features when safe and legal to do so. Data rates may apply. Subject to third-party service availability. Google Play, and Google Maps are trademarks of Google LLC. Well-qualified lessees. 2024 Rogue S all-wheel drive. $47.79 initial payment excludes tax, title, and license. Disposition fee due at lease end. Take from new dealer stock. Call 1-888-858-8319 for offer details. Ends 11/4/24.
Operating engineers are the men and women that move mountains. And the Engineers Labor Employer Cooperative, ELEC, puts them to work. They create opportunities for the men, women, and union signatory contractors of Local 825, repaving our roads, keeping our homes bright and warm, and even building our favorite team stadium. We understand infrastructure. That's why ELEC and Local 825 are ready to get to work.
Get my neck roll! Ike Reese here, and I know about tackling. And you know what? You can tackle your game day menu this season with the official hot dog of the Philadelphia Eagles from Dietz & Watson. Fire up that grill at the tailgate with perfectly smoked premium franks and sausages in bold flavors like jalapeno cheddar and bacon cheddar. Sandwiches are always better with freshly sliced meats and artisan cheeses from Dietz & Watson. Head to DietzandWatson.com to find a local retailer near you. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing.
We are all quarterbacks of our financial future, and we have to be boldly committed to the process. It begins with a game plan, preparing yourself for success on and off the field. Not just thinking about short-term wins, but long-term goals. And the best part about winning is winning as one. Build your tomorrow with Lincoln Financial.
Lincoln Financial is the marketing name for Lincoln National Corporation and affiliates, copyright 2024. Lincoln Financial is a sponsor of Jalen Hurts, who has received compensation.
True Philly fans know that thirsty birds fly faster with Bird Gang Spirits. Bird Gang's starting lineup of bourbon, vodka, and tequilas are made for true Philly fans. The pre-gamers, the tailgaters, dieharders, and lifelongers. This year's limited edition release of Bird Gang commemorates the 75th anniversary of the Eagles' 1949 World Championship. Pick up a bottle at your liquor store today or order directly at BOTLD.com. Bird Gang Spirits. Go Birds! 2024 Bird Gang Spirit. Direct delivery available only to PA residents. Please drink responsibly. Hear Nick Sirianni's presser after the game on 94 WIP. You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show. The Philadelphia Eagles, powered by Verizon. Hugh Douglas, Eliot, Shorr-Parks, Joe Giglio with you as we get set for a big one in the NFC East. And we'll see if we get a win today. A big one because this is a road trip. The Eagles go to Cincinnati next week, which will obviously be a challenging.
We'll get some chili.
Yeah, you ever have that? Was it called Skyline?
Skyline chili.
What is it? Is it chili over spaghetti?
Well, it's they have different varieties. I'm not a fan, so I never would eat it.
You getting some next week, Eliot?
I mean, not after that review by Hugh. I might need to pass on that one.
You know, you have to ask Ike. I remember it was a fish spot in Cincinnati called Alabama's. I don't know if it's still there, but they got some good fish, man. It's like I'll
have to check that out.
You know what, though?
I mean,
I think it's in the hood, though. You probably want to, call you some of your African American friends to kind of hang out with.
I'll be good. I'll head over.
Yeah, you don't want to start no trouble.
I mean, Eliot went to Brazil, got back without any trouble.
He did.
He's good.
Yeah,
he's traveled.
No, I'm just saying, but some people don't. They might get a little nervous.
Well, speaking of nervous, that's me for this game. Let's get to some predictions here. I'm going to go first. Let you guys maybe pump everyone else up on the way out because I am concerned about this game for the Eagles. In fact, the way I framed it on Friday is I just don't trust them. Are they better? Yeah. I mean, they're better. They're fair by 3 points.
They did win last week, and I agree with both of you that they showed some good signs. But I am concerned about this game. I don't trust them. I'm concerned about the left tackle situation. I think the Eagles are going to drop this game. I have the Giants 23, Eagles 20. I think this is the first time in my 10 years at WIP I haven't picked the Eagles to beat the Giants. It normally is a lock. Hugh, what do you think on this one? I've got Eagles losing by 3 to the Giants today.
No! It's going to be a close game.
That we agree on.
The thought, I was thinking 24-20, Eagles. It's not going to be a game that it's going to be one that makes us feel good as Eagles fans, but 24-20.
All right, let's end with the guy that wasn't just confident when I heard him Friday as I drove in to do our show. He guaranteed it. Eliot, who you got today, why, and how confident are you as we're about to kick this off?
Yeah, I'm guaranteeing an Eagles win today. We can talk about all the off-the-field stuff, the distractions, the kids at the podium, the press conferences. Here's what Nick Sirianni does. He wins. He wins. He has the second highest winning percentage among all active NFL head coaches. The Giants are not a good team. And Sirianni, over his time here, generally does not lose, if ever, to bad teams. So I think they will win the game today. They're better on offense. They're better on defense. They're better on the sideline. I think they come out with a 24-17 win.
All right, so we're all in the same range of points. Both of you at 24. I have them at 20. So that low, mid-20 range,
yes,
it's going to be on the defense to keep the Giants down and make that hold up enough for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, that is it for us. We're going to hand this thing over to Merrill and Mike and Howard for the call as the Eagles take on the New York Giants. That wraps up the Verizon pregame show. Remember to stay tuned after the game for the PDQ Restaurant Point of Sale System postgame show with Rob Ellis and Jason Avant. For Hugh Douglas, Eliot Shorr-Parks, Mike Angelina, Austin Yim, Andrew Swank, Dan Wilson, Dave Breitmeyer, and Dan Wilson, I'm Joe Giglio. Now stay tuned for Merrill and Mike as they bring you all the action on the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.